Hi, I'm Morgan Spurlock, and this is my career in 4 minutes. When we got into Sundance, I was so excited because here was, for years I'd watched the Sundance Film Festival, and I was, and you'd seen the people who made these little movies for nothing, like Steven Soderbergh or the Coen brothers or Quentin Tarantino or Kevin Smith. These people who made these little movies for nothing that then went in and it kind of changed their lives forever, and here we were in the middle of Sundance with this movie, and James Rocky, who is a journalist in the States, a movie journalist, comes up to me about halfway through the festival and he goes, so Mr. Spurlock, how does it feel? And I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, how does it feel to be the belle of the ball? He goes, this is your Sundance. And at that, and I just got chills telling you the story. And at that moment, it hit me where I was like, wow, I'm that guy. I'm Cinderella. Like, my life is never going to be the same after this, and it hasn't been. And to kind of be in that moment at that time was incredible. It was a gift. In the middle, the scariest moment for me is we were in the middle of Afghanistan, and we were in a Taliban ambush. As we were riding along, we started getting fired upon by Taliban, and we pulled our convoy off the road. And I mean, it was incredibly scary. And they were on the phone. They were on the phones, and they went off. We went onto a different road because there were reports there were IEDs up ahead. I mean, it got very, very scary. And and I had a pregnant wife back home, and all I could think about was like, I just want to get home. It was incredibly fun, and not only was it fun, but I feel like that was one of the turning points for my career that kind of started to really push us in a different direction. And I think that we'd always done incredibly, and I'd always made very popular documentaries that kind of went beyond kind of what a typical doc audience would be. And I think that when we got asked to do the Simpsons special, not only did it kind of put me in a different position of, well, now I'm being asked to create the special for one of the most beloved, franchises in the world, but I think it put me in a much more commercial landscape, than I think I typically had been before that. We were nominated for an Emmy. I mean, it was exciting. I think that one job changed a lot. I'm a geek. I'm a total geek. I love genre movies. I love comic books. I love horror films. I love video games. Like, everything that ComicCon is about, I am a fan of. But when we got the idea for the film, I was like, you know what? I would just be a fan, kind of going on this wandering thing. I don't really have a point when I go to ComicCon except to just be a fan. And I said, we need to find some people who are going there for real purposes, and that way they can have a real story arc of what's their journey, why are they there, what do they want to accomplish. And so we went out to try and find geeks on a mission, and we did. And I think it was such the right choice to do, rather than put me into that. And by not putting myself into that is, I think, part of the reason why I ended up getting This Is Us and the job for that. I think when I showed that movie to the studio, they were like, wow, he can make a movie that he's not in. Look at that. Let's maybe we should give him a shot. I got inspired to make Mansome when a friend of mine, a guy named Ben Silverman, he used to be the president of NBC, who before that he had a production company called Reveille, which did The Office in the United States, Ugly Betty, Biggest Loser, and he and I did a TV show called 30 Days that we did for FX. And he'd started a new company and was working with Will Arnett and Jason Bateman. And he said, you should meet with Will and Jason when you're in LA, because they have an idea for a movie that I think you'd dig. And so I went and I met with them, and he told me, he goes, they want to make a movie about manscaping. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I said, that's ridiculous. And he goes, just go have lunch with them. And so I went and had lunch with Will Arnett and Jason Bateman, which was probably one of the most epic lunches I could have ever had in my life. For 2 hours, my producing partner, Jeremy Chilnick, and I just sat there. And the way they are on camera, where they just literally take the piss out of each other constantly, is how they are in real life. They're best friends, and all they do is just, give each other shit constantly. And so we're there for lunch, just talking. We're like, well, what could be in the movie? What could happen? And so we just start talking about the characters, or the things that we've seen online, or ideas that could be in the movie. And the two of them just making jokes the whole time. But by the time the lunch was over, I was like, we have to make this movie. I said, I want to work with these guys so badly after this lunch. I said, we have to make this film, and it was great.
Nothing to see here, sir!
They're not wrapped up in everything.
Hey, keep the lens up here.
Just 5 normal lads having the time of their life.
We love you, One Direction!